And the last one, finally, we got the tanks, and hopefully, I'm gonna try and keep this as a short video. Gotta get better at that. So I'm just gonna start with Vengeance. Vengeance is very powerful. I would say maybe it takes a little bit of time to get used to what you're supposed to do to mitigate damage. You got the Demon Spike, which you always want to put up and stuff like that. You might have some issues with aggro and stuff like that, with sigils and stuff like that. But generally, I'd say if you want to play Vengeance, just jump in with Infernal Strike and then Immolation Aura straight away. That should be good enough for most beginner players. And I'm emphasizing now, this is for beginners. This is not for competitive players. Just go to Archon, go to Wowhead, read the guides, go sim yourself, all that stuff. This is for the people who are maybe new to the game, completely new to the game. Maybe they're the moms and dads that just want to play something chill and they need a tank in their guild or something, and they just want to have a good time, or they're just people who just want to play something simpler than something overly complicated or something like that. And the good thing is that the tanks all are just great and very powerful. No one really has any issues with surviving or not. There might be some in like super high keys, obviously, but if once you get your rotation down, it's gonna be very, very easy to survive. Very powerful, lots of damage, lots of CC utility. It's just that one tank kind of has more utility than the others, and that is Vengeance. And but it's getting nerfed, and it has been nerfed. It has changed now. So would I say they're worse? No, they're still very, very powerful. They still have a very long CC, silences and grips and all that good stuff that every tank would love to have more grips and stuff like that. But the rotation and how it plays is quite simple. You just generate souls and then you spend the souls on soul bomb or soul cleave. Mostly soul bomb, spear bomb, or soul cleave. Mostly spear bomb in AoE especially. And the more souls you get, the more damage the mob take, and the more healing you do from doing damage to the mobs, and the less damage they do to you. So it really is just a chain of everything. You just want a lot of haste and some other stuff, usually just versatility, and you just spam out souls, and you bring them back in and explode. And on bosses, you kind of just spam soul cleave. It gives you a bunch of stacks. You got your meta. Don't be afraid to use meta. Meta is not a DPS cooldown or anything like that. Meta is not a panic button cooldown. Just jump in. The first pull, just jump in, use meta, and use fel dev, all that good stuff. Or fel dev first, and then wait a little bit, wait for your cooldowns to drop, your defensives, and then use meta. Like that's generally how most tanks go. You don't want to pop all your defensives at the same time. You want to spread them out, and you want to kind of save them for the correct moment. But I would say just pop meta as Vengeance, and get more used to that idea, right? Of just uh, understanding, like, okay, now I need meta, now I don't need meta. Like, just use your defensives, chain them together. It should be good. Like, uh, Bear. Oh man, I already talked for like 4 minutes. Bear, very powerful, very simple, very fun. You go in, you thrash, you raise, you don't swipe. Okay, I'm telling you right now, take swipe, throw it off your bars, put it somewhere away. You do not need swipe. Do not swipe under any circumstance. There are very tiny, very specific circumstances where you want to swipe over recasting Moonfire or something like that. I would not worry about this. I would not worry at all about this. There's also one tiny scenario in Halls of Infusion. There are invisible mobs. You might want to swipe there to get them, like to get them out of stealth, because if they hit you out of stealth, they're gonna stun you. So that's like the only scenario I would say. Otherwise, I would not waste my time on swipe, because it generates no threat and it gives you no absorb shield. Thrash and Race give you a bunch of absorb shields, and Thrash gives you Rage. Thrash gives you a stack that reduces damage you take, and Iron Fur generally keep that up on 1 or 2 stacks. You don't have to go too crazy on that. Try and spend most of your rage on Thrash, and just and then the big thing is Incarn. Play around your Incarn. If you're playing Bear, pop your incarn immediately on the first pull, pull big, or as big as you want, and then on the next pull, pull small. And then when you got incarn back up, pull big and spend all your rage. Okay, sorry, I've been playing this spec for a long time, so I kind of go over the most. I like this spec a lot. There's a lot to it, but the simplicity is just like thrash, raise in AOE, and of course, mangle, thrash, raise in AOE, and mangle, maul, thrash in single target. That's most of it. If you pick up Galactic Guardian, you don't even have to press it. It just procs off you, and you're good to go. Very fun actually, and very nice, very comfy. Best battle res as well. Super good battle res. Anyway, other spec that is battle res. Prot warrior, prot paladin, prot paladin is very powerful, very easy to keep your mitigations up because it's just shield of the righteous, and you're pretty much good to go. Never spend word of glory on anything but the free casts. Like, no, don't use your holy power on word of glory. You can essentially, I don't really recommend this, but you can basically just macro your shield of the righteous almost into just your judgment or something like that. But don't do that. You want to try and maintain 100% uptime on shield of the righteous defensive. But other than that, you got some super powerful defensives. You got some super powerful utility for the group, especially for beginners. Like Lay on Hands is an absolute lifesaver, and Bubble Taunt. Just bubble, and then you taunt everything around you. You use that all the time. It's crazy good. And then you got really powerful defensives, and you can block spells. I mean, it's just a good time, and you can lock down one mob with your Avenger Shield by just silencing it forever. That makes so many pulls just so easy for beginners. I highly recommend it. It's very nice, very easy, very comfy, and very good. One that takes a little bit of time is Prot Warrior. You have a lot of buttons. Just a lot of things. You got some DPS buttons as well. Like you're putting down Ravager, it gives you rage, yeah, but it's mostly just like a DPS. Then you got Thunderous Roar, which is just pure DPS. I don't know if they still have the same set bonus that gives you Thunderous Roar. I think they picked that over the other one. I think they picked that. So I mean, Thunderous Roar is just DPS. You just do a lot of damage, and the issue that it takes a little bit of time is like getting used to the fact that you have difficulties pulling because your main aggro is Thunderclap. Thunderclap is reduced beyond 5 targets, and you can't pick up the increased radius on it because you have to pick up the Thunderclap gives you rent. So you have a very tiny radius on Thunderclap. You're spending most of your time just running around picking up all the mobs that are like straggling, that are like far away, and a DPS just go ham on them for no reason. And yeah, really, you just like you're very dependent actually on Thunderous Roar to keep aggro and stuff like that. And it's very spammy. You're going very fast. You got a lot of haste, and your cooldowns are being reduced by an absolute metric buttload. And then on top of that, you got your tanky cooldowns, defensives, and DPS cooldown. And on top of that, sometimes you want to like go between battle stance and defensive stance. I would say as a beginner, just stick with defensive stance. You do not gain a huge amount of damage going into battle stance, but once you're like very experienced, you understand that defensive stance isn't required all the time. You're insanely tanky. Like this is the tankiest tank in the game, I would say by far. A little bit tough on spells unless you have spell block, which you do have. Like you also have spell reflect, which is a defensive because it gives you 20% magic damage reduction for 5 seconds. You also have spell block, the most powerful cooldown in the game. It makes you block all spells. And when warrior blocks spells, it blocks them. It just like you're so insanely tanky on this thing. And it's amazing. You just pop all your cooldowns and go crazy. Right, so the hard to master, the good old fashioned, like this hasn't really changed much. They're always hard to master. The biggest hard to master thing about Blood Decay is understanding your death strike, understanding that when you go into a pull, every mob is going to hit you and you're going to drop to like 20, 30% health, maybe 10% health. And you got to be ready for that. Like sometimes, I mean, you have to pick up Purgatory, because you just have to kind of use it as a defensive because you're probably gonna die a lot, but you got the purgatory, you got the cheat death. But once you get rolling, once you understand that, once you are good to go, once you keep your runic power between pulls and stuff like that, once you just pop all your defenses on the first pull, Death Strike just takes care of everything. You're healing like crazy. You're like healing two, three, four, 5 times more than the healer. So you top in the healing meters. You can top the DPS meters. It's a good time. You can pull everything together. You got a great battle rest. You got great utility. It's very fun. People who main Blood Decay will always say like this is the only tank I enjoy. It's the best tank and stuff like that. So really, if you want to just like the thematic of Blood Decay is absolutely the thing I want to go for. You're just hang in there. You're gonna have a bit of a tough time maybe in the beginning, but once you get the gear, once you understand the runic power system where you really want to have as much runic power as all times as you can, and using your death strikes correctly to heal yourself to full, you are so good to go. You're super powerful, and it's a very fun spec, very flashy and very powerful. I really like this spec. I've just never been able to main it for various reasons. And then the Brewmaster. The reason this is difficult is because you just got so many DPS cooldowns. I mean, uh, but I would say as a beginner, I would put in like take some time. If you pick a certain talent build that just skips all those cooldowns, I'll show you quickly. Now keep in mind you will be losing a lot of damage, but as a tank, as a beginner tank, you really do not have to worry about that at all. So they already have this chosen here. You can pick up Diffuse Magic or Dampen Harm as abilities that are defensives. Just pick up the passives. They're really powerful. They're not as powerful as this if you know how to use them perfectly, but these just take care of so much for you. This heals a crazy amount and 10% dodge chance. That's really powerful. Another thing, just drop summon White Tiger statue. It already got actually nerfed by 30%, I believe. So you really have to be pulling gigantic pulls to make a lot to get a lot out of it. And those mobs have to last 30 seconds for you to get a lot out. Just drop it. Just drop it. Pick up maybe if you want Black Ox statue and just summon it before you pull, and then all the mobs will auto attack it before they auto. But it's not right required. Just drop it. Another thing I would drop is this. I'm not saying you can't drop this. I would just say don't worry about it. Just 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 don't use it. It just isn't powerful at all, especially when you just new to the spec. I really would not recommend just drop this. Don't worry too much about using it. And another thing is weapon of order. I would drop this, pick up the press the advantage, the passive, and this not only takes away the weapons of order cooldown, it takes away your tiger bomb cooldown. So you just spend your energy on your spinning crane kicks and your keg smashes, and you're good to go. And it's not as powerful, blah blah blah, of course, but this is just pure damage. Honestly, it's because it gives you a little bit of increased effectiveness on your getting your brews back, but really, it's just not that important. Another thing I would drop, this is a bit optional, but I love it. Dropping Rushing Jadewind, picking up Special Delivery. So Rushing Jadewind is really powerful because it's the same as Immolation Aura. You just press it and you get like slowly get aggro on everything. There's this thing where you like pull and then there's like mobs to the side that you haven't done damage to yet, and they just immediately beeline for the healer or some ranged DPS, and they'll auto attack them and they'll kill them. You don't want that. Rushing Jadewind should save you on that. You don't have to keep this up 100% of the time, right? It's a 6 second cooldown. It's damage over 6 seconds. You feel like you have to. Oh wait, no, actually, I think this is the incorrect tooltip. I think it's like 8 seconds or something like that. Because this one says it costs chi, but you don't use chi as a brewmaster. Um, okay, whatever. You don't have to keep 100% uptime on this, but it's so much easier when you don't have Tiger Bomb, you don't have Weapons of Order, you don't have White Tiger statue. You're not focusing on invoking Yuzao because he's just not that powerful, unfortunately, at the moment. It's not that useful. I would not try and min max this blackout combo. Just press your blackout kicks, press your keck smashes, and breath of fire always after keck smash. You should be really just like mostly good to go. Uh, yeah, I wanna like just say a bit about the special delivery. This thing actually does a lot of damage because it's completely uncapped. It slows all the mobs by 50% for 15 seconds. This thing is like crazy because it's like under the radar. And what I just do, like when I'm doing like lowish keys, I just go in, I spam all of my brews. Like I just spam purifying brew, and then I spam I pick up Black Ox Brew, and that also gives you a special delivery proc, and just spam them again, Celestial Brew, blah blah blah. Because really, you don't like you. The thing that's a little bit hard about Brewmaster is that you have so many ways of mitigating damage. You got the brews, you got the stagger AK. Like you want to get rid of the stagger. Sometimes you don't want to get rid of the stagger. It really depends. Then you got the Celestial Brew, which heals, gives you a bigger absorb shield based on how much purifying you've been doing, and it's not based on the number. It's based on the bar. So the higher the bar is, the more stacks of this Celestial Brew. This is not what it's called. It is called Purified Chi, and the more stacks of that you get up to 10 stacks, and that gives you 200% absorb shield. Uh, Purifying, even with like one damage in the stagger meter, if you purify that, it will give you one stack always. So it's not that terrible, but it's a bit of a waste the way I play it. Uh, so yeah, you can just drop like, and you can pick up Bob and Weave instead, or you could pick up I don't think there really is anything else you could. I mean, you could just put it here for some damage or something like that. I would say keep this one. It's a really, really powerful cooldown. You don't have to be focused on it all the time. Just think about it as like, oh no, I took a lot of damage and I already used my Celestial Brew. I'm just gonna reset it and just use Celestial Brew again. So that's a very powerful way. It's a very powerful cooldown, and I highly recommend just keeping this around. But that reduces your buttons by one, two, three, four, five, six if you don't want to think about this. Six buttons taken away. Seven buttons taken away. Right? It's got a crazy amount of buttons. We're checking to see if there are any reworks with tanks. There have currently been no changes to tanks within the War Within, except for obviously hero talents and class trees. But there are definitely gonna come some tank changes because I mean Clash is now in the class tree, so definitely gonna be some changes. And uh, if you're still watching, thank you for watching. And I just want to end on saying all the tanks are insanely powerful, can tank the highest of the highest keys. It is just a tiny issue with the Vengeance currently can just lock down mobs forever. And that really changes the gameplay because it requires so much less coordination, so much less focusing on which target you need to CC at the perfect moment to blah blah blah, and use all your utility and race changing to a panda to pick up incapacity. No, I'm joking. They don't do that. Of course, they don't do that. But you know what I mean. Like, just makes it a little bit more easy because you got so many stops and CCs and blah blah blah, and you're tanky, and you do a lot of damage, and you're a demon. I mean, that's pretty cool. I like bears. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'm not even sure what other videos I should make after this. I might just make like the ultimate spec to play for a beginner of each role, which would be, by the way, it would be bear for tank, it would be rat paladin for melee, for ranged. Man, I think I would say devastation. It's fresh, it's new, it's powerful. It's a bit squishy if you don't know the defensives, but I don't think I would really put it like maybe balanced druid, but it's just not intuitive. At least not at the moment. Next expansion, it might be a bit more comfy because you just got a 2 minute cooldown, orbital strike, good times, and healer. I mean, all the healers are kind of tough. I would just like pick up Resto Shaman, Resto Druid, but I don't know. Like all of them are kind of tough to say. I would I would honestly say pick up. I would say pick up Resto Druid with the Grow Guardians, right? No, okay. So I would say that if you're interested in seeing like a much more in-depth guide on these four specs, and maybe I could do some other specs and stuff like that. I don't know. Thank you for watching, and yeah, see ya.